So first thing I want to kind of note is on the weekly time frame here, we had two kind of distribution candles, right? We had this candle here and then this candle here. So the past 2 weeks we've been distributing a little bit higher. Um, so two things that can kind of happen for this week is we can kind of distribute again and close back in the range, or we can kind of consolidate here, right? So kind of stay within maybe a range like this, something like that. That's kind of what I'm expecting this week to do. We do have CPI on Wednesday, so we could see price kind of chop around before taking that weekly high on Wednesday, but we'll see. This weekly high is already really close, right? We have the weekly high, it's only basically 500 ticks away. So that's something we could see as a target in the next, in this session or maybe tomorrow's session. Um, so yeah, that's just my thought process on the weekly, right? That we could just have a consolidation week. Now the daily is looking a little prime, right, to take out the daily high, right? We traded below, and now we're kind of moving up here. We have to see what the 9:30 open kind of gives us to confirm that maybe we hit this daily high. Now I noticed on the hourly we do have some clean targets to the downside though, right? We had this Asia low here. Right here we had Asia low. Yo, good morning, Brian. What's going on, man? We had the Asia low, and then we also had a London low here, right? Both of these levels did not get swept, right? So this is kind of low resistance liquidity down here, right? We also have like this candle that didn't get traded back into. So that's kind of something to note. And also, like we discussed, we have this daily high. So we're trading literally right in the middle of two higher time frame objectives, right? So it makes it a little difficult, and it's a Monday, right? So with a Monday, you're not expecting like huge moves, right? It's just kind of setting up how the week would go, right? So with that, I mean, I'm pretty neutral bias here because we got these clean lows and this clean high. You look at the daily, it looks like it's setting itself up for kind of like a slingshot move here to go into the high, but I would be reluctant about that on a Monday, right? But we got the open in about 4 minutes, so we can see how that kind of starts drawing to, right? And you can notice here on the 5 minute time frame, we have all this low resistance liquidity that was forming during London and also the pre-market. So something you could see is price trade down into here for the AM session and then back higher. But that's kind of under like normal circumstances, right? We're trading on a Monday, and then tomorrow is pre CPI, right? So, we might not see any crazy moves in the market until Wednesday rolls around, right? If that makes sense, because obviously news is going to drive the market a little bit more. You can kind of think as tomorrow as kind of like Thursday last week, right? Like pre NFP. It's pre CPI. So it's kind of the outlook on the week. So for basically today and tomorrow, what I would want to be looking for is just those base hit moves. Yo, Peter, what's going on, man? Frank, good morning, bro. How you guys doing? But yeah, definitely today and tomorrow looking for base hits, and then Wednesday, Thursday, a possibility of going after larger range moves, right? Um, since we see Monday and Tuesday kind of consolidating, right, before CPI. That's just my overlook, right? That's my outlook on the market right now and how this week is going to kind of play out. You see ES here is kind of following suit, right? There is SMT right here. Okay, so I noticed that right off the bat that there is SMT. We got ES is a little stronger, but you can see how price is kind of tightening in a range here on ES, right? We're kind of forming like a little triangle pattern here. So we can definitely see some basically this is accumulation and then some type of manipulation move, right? And then distribution. But who knows? You could probably see Monday. Monday could probably trade all day in like this little range, right? But that's kind of something we need to just kind of adapt to and not get chopped up in. On ES. Um, yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm expecting this week to be, just like consolidation for both candles. We could see another expansion, right? Because this is CPI week, right? We could see this expand. We already had two expansion candles here, basically. This candle was distributing and this candle was distributing, right? Taking out highs and trading into more PD arrays. So it's very possible that this candle is another expansion. I'm just not expecting that, right? That's something we kind of have to adapt to. You know what I mean? We are trading into this fair value gap, but price has no real signs of kind of slowing down quite yet, right? Um, that's just kind of what ES is showing. But I'm gonna pay attention here to NQ because we just had the open. But yeah, we need to we basically need to be super reactive here. Since we don't really have like a neutral, we have a neutral bias and we don't really have like a strong bias towards these lows or these highs. I think we just need to kind of see how the market opens in the first 5 to 15 minutes to get a direction here. I like both of these levels. Both of these levels are pretty clean right now. Again, this is the daily time frame. Looks like it's priming itself to go higher. However, we got these clean lows. So now, one thing to note last week is that we didn't get that move as well down into the data lows, right? So we can mark that out as well. And we kind of see the same thing kind of forming last week as this week, except we're not post NFP, right? So this is something that price could run for, is maybe some of these London lows and Asia lows. And I guess final target would be like this data low, right? So I'll still mark that out, right? I just want to see what my risk parameters would look like today. So 400 tick stop here is pretty large on a day like this, right? So Got my dogs barking in the background, barking at the lawn people or something. But yeah, I'm pretty neutral bias. I'm curious to see how you guys are seeing the market right now. What are you guys kind of thinking here? I like uh I like both sides right now. But we are trading above midnight open too, so these if anything, if I had to choose, I would say bearish for these low-hanging fruit targets. Some of these lows here in London low. Okay. Just make sure my account is connected to my replicanto. Okay, everything looks good. Yeah, Jonah, awesome. Yeah, it's good that you mark all that out. Now it's kind of, it's a patience game, right? You have a little patience here. Now it looks like off the open, these lows are going to get ran here. You can already see ES. ES has taken these lows already. And ES is kind of running for this low resistance liquidity here. Yep. Yeah. ES is it's plummeting right here, right? It's, which was interesting because with SMT here it's a little bit stronger. I think this might be a day where we enter with 2 contracts and a 200 tick stop instead, because the range is a little bit tighter, right? I don't really need my stop loss to be 400. I can start with 200 and then mitigate my risk from there. Yeah, we'll see though. We shall see, because we are rejecting this low resistance liquidity here. Something I like to note too is, we haven't traded into any standard deviation yet from the Asia range. And typically you will see, you know, either one side get hit, like a one standard deviation here, one standard deviation here. You know what I mean? Typically a day usually hits one of them. But we'll see how this candle closes. I really like the idea if if we kind of accumulate here and we manipulate it down, create this fair value gap, right? And then we close above. We close above here, and then we start targeting. This would be like first target, right? And then second target of daily high. That would be a good setup. Standard deviation with this indicator that I have set up here. Basically all it is it's just measuring out, it's duplicating the range, right? So the Asia range here is 262 ticks or 270 ticks, you know, close to it. All it's doing is it's multiplying the range by 2, right? So this would be times 1, times 2, times 3, and then, you know, there's a times 4 as well, right? So that's all the standard deviation is with this indicator. It's just ICT everything by Cold Brew Rosh, right? But yeah, basically I use it on mostly just confluence targets, right? So if I see that the standard deviation of 1 lines up with something, you know, you could see that this standard deviation kind of lines up with the data low, right? So if we start trading down towards there, that's a possible, you know, a good confluence, right? And then we also have this low resistance liquidity. So it's just like, you know, it's just a little extra something, something, right? To help guide where you want price to go. But like I said, typically, you know, on a normal day, you're going to see one of these get hit, right? And possibly trade a little further, right? If it's like an expansion day, you could start seeing 2 and 3 standard deviations hit, right? There's another way I use standard deviation, and that's like off manipulation legs, right? But we'll see if we get like an example today, right? Trying to find a clean example of it. Yeah, we'll see if we get an example. I don't weigh too heavy on, you know, standard deviations of manipulation leg, but, you know, sometimes I'll use it as confluence. So yeah, we're trading basically straight down here, right off the open. Now, it would be cool to see maybe a reversal if we tap into one of these areas, right? But there's a lot of liquidity down here, right? Down at these data lows, so that it's something that we could be drawing towards, and everybody can see this daily candle, right? Everybody could see this daily candle as maybe like a slingshot move, and people are wanting to target the daily high, right? So this could be engineering enough liquidity just to come back down a bit. So I do want to mark this daily low to see where it is on the lower time frames, but this isn't a target, right? I'm not expecting price to come way back down here, but so we have this fair value gap right off the open. Let's see if this this gets respected here. This could be an opportunity here. My only concern is that this could be manipulation for sure, right? Because we had this accumulation right before the open. This could be just leaving these clean London and Asia lows down here to go a little bit higher. That's what I'm saying though. When you're neutral bias like this, I can literally, you know, have an argument for both sides here. Right? So just need to see what price is going to give us. So we got this candle closing in 2 minutes. If we invert this fair value gap, I'm going to go long. I'll definitely be going long. This is actually SMT as well. This is SMT with ES. Right. I'm pretty sure price is going to trade lower into these London lows though. Because we got ES respecting this opening gap. Got 50 seconds on this candle. This 15-minute candle looks kind of gross though, not going to lie. Just very back and forth. Just being patient here. So we got 3 seconds on this candle. We did invert it. We did invert it. So I'm going to go ahead and go long here.
Order submitted.
I'm expecting this low to hold. So I'm going to mitigate my loss a little bit here. I want the low of this candle to kind of hold. So we had SMT. It is equal lows here. But we'll see. I might have jumped the gun a little bit, but I told myself if we invert this fair value gap, I'll go ahead and take the buy. Yeah, a little bit more of a risky play here with these equal lows and London lows down here. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I'm still up on the month, Alex. Yeah, I'm still up on the month. I'm only like a couple $100 from securing the payout on Apex. We last week we were up like 2R. The week before that was just a break even week. I was heavily in profit and then I kind of gave it back on Friday the week before, so not the best. Not the best week the week before. But last week wasn't too bad. We were up 2R. So I'm going to target probably like low hanging fruit here. Just like this one standard deviation. But I think I was a little hasty with this trade, to be honest. A little hasty. Your Apex account reset? Um that's weird. Did they give you a free reset or how did that work? Hmm. That's weird. Check your email and make sure. I would definitely check your email. I know there was like the big data breach last weekend or over the weekend. with some prop firms data getting released, basically. I don't know if Apex decided they wanted to just reset accounts or something. I'm not sure. As like a protocol. Hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking this is going to be a power of three play here, where this was accumulation, this was manipulation, right? The only bad thing, like I said, the only bad thing is leaving behind equal lows like this. um, yeah, equal lows and the clean London and Asia low. That's the only thing kind of little sus about it. But I like how we swept some of the low resistance liquidity here from London and pre-market and then formed SMT and inverted this fair value gap. So the confluence to go higher is definitely there, right? The accumulation, manipulation, inversion of fair value gap, SMT, and sweeping some low resistance liquidity. There's definitely the confluence to go higher. It's just, like I said, on a neutral bias day where you have two clean targets, makes it a little tougher, right? One more entry would be below this candle here. Yeah, so I'm going to enter one more contract here.
Order filled.
Enter one more contract, and I'm going to put my stop um, right here. I'm going to manage my trade right below this low. If we see this low get taken, I'm going to assume that we're taking out these lows, right? We respected this fair value gap here. I don't want to see this low get broken anymore. So we scale in a little bit. We get a little bit more risk to reward, right? So we go from a 1-to-1 to basically like a 1.7 instead by scaling in. And this is a little bit aggressive, but what I'm trying to do is just get a nice little base hit for a Monday. I'm not really trying to hold for this full target, right? I just want to catch a little piece of the pie because we could definitely trade back up into this one standard deviation and then slam down towards these lows, right? So if we break this high here, that means we will confirm distribution, and I would go ahead and move my stop up a little bit more, right? So we are forming a little breakaway gap here. Let's see if this fills. We still got 3 minutes on this candle, so this might be a little breakaway gap. Yeah, ES is a little bit weaker here. ES is trying to trade into this volume imbalance here on the 5 minute. You can see we have this little gap in price. Once we see ES invert this, I would say pretty solid, right? Pretty solid shape. The gap on the 5 minute. You got it in long? Nice. Yeah, I would like to see price trade away from this a little faster, right? If we had accumulation, manipulation, I want distribution to be a little bit more forceful, right? I don't know. I don't want it to kind of hang around. Now, what I would like to see is for the last 5 minutes, of the candle to close up here, right? So just in case 10 a.m. does any type of pullback, it would be okay, right? My stop loss would be in a safe spot. But if we close here and 10 a.m. opens up, 10 a.m. could come down, tap into stop loss before going up higher. The 10 a.m. candle or the 10 a.m. open is always something you need to be cautious of in a trade because, obviously 10 a.m. candle can whipsaw, especially right off the open of the 10 a.m. candle. We see a lot of volatility, right? So we did create this fair value gap here, which is kind of looking at it as a breakaway. Let's see if price wants to trade back into it. Yes, traded into that volume imbalance like we talked about. And we can possibly invert this fair value gap from the open. Yeah, if we come down here and trade into this fair value gap, we do not want to see it invert, right? We want to see this respected. Yeah, 1 minute looks pretty good too. A lot of volume imbalances, a lot of fair value gaps here forming, right? Moving a little bit, consolidating, moving, consolidating. See if we can get one more kind of big push to the upside at 10 a.m. Yo, Rich, you're in Israel? Damn, man, what you doing there? You just you stationed for a while, or how's that work for you? Nice, bro. Nice. I think that's not really a bad thing, right? This week, I don't think we're gonna see a lot of movement. Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday we have CPI. So I think Thursday might is a pretty good day for you to come back, honestly. I'm not expecting much moves in the market until Wednesday, Thursday, anyways. So if you could catch a clean trade Thursday, Friday, that'd be sweet. Yeah, you can definitely tell NQ is a little bit stronger here. NQ is definitely stronger. So so we tap back into that fair value gap. We got a minute 45 on this candle. Like I said, I want this fair value gap to hold. I would not want to see it invert. That would be kind of not the best. Right. And basically we would have two indecision candles back to back for the open. And that would basically solidify my my statement about today being kind of just a consolidation Monday, you know. I mean, it's pretty typical if you see like two consolidation candles like that. It's just kind of price engineering a little bit of liquidity to figure out where it wants to go. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to see this before 10 a.m. because now the 10 a.m. candle can open up and rip through stop loss. Right, so there's the 10 a.m. candle opening up a little bit more violent. I don't see that being the recovery, right? Yeah, interesting how we're just trading straight up. Yeah, 10 a.m.'s leaving no bottom wick. I don't like how that looks, right? This is possibly the market giving me an opportunity to get out. We'll see. This is sometimes a little typical of 10 a.m. to not leave a lower wick, but we'll see. I think if I mitigate my risk here, right, this would be a half loss if we decide that we want to actually create top wick here. Yeah, this is interesting price action for sure. Inverted this fair value gap, but got 2.5 minutes on this candle. Yeah, this price action's pretty gross, not gonna lie. I think I jinxed it in the group, the general chat this morning when I said we could have some clean price action this week. Alex is out. Alex is out. Nice job, bro. Yeah, look, we have price just kind of melting back down towards these lows here. Nice work, Alex, bro. Nice little base hit for you. 752. You got in. You got in low, low. Nice, man. We'll see. We got 20 seconds on this candle. It's possible that we hold this fair value gap. It's possible. No audio. No audio still? Yeah, I don't know. Still messed up. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Still have no audio, right? Still no audio? I don't know. I'm just gonna keep talking until I'm gonna keep talking until it comes up again. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? No, 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 no. I don't know what to do to fix it. I don't know. I don't know. What can I do? Uh, gosh. Wow, man. What is with this? What is with this network? I don't know. High packet loss, low frame rate, checking your network quality and speed. reducing stream resolution or frame rate settings. Ensure, yeah, I don't know, man. It's like an everyday occurrence. I don't know. I think it's just like network thing, right? Oh, true. Yeah, honestly, Jonah's the problem. It fixed it for everyone. He left and came back. That was the problem. Yeah, it really is frustrating. Really is frustrating though. I don't know why that does that. All right, yeah, so it was really interesting how we kind of traded into this fair value gap. We inverted it and came right back. So I don't know. If we start breaking this high, I'm gonna move my stop loss to break even. Um, I almost felt like I should have got out at that trade there. However, um, we'll see. Yeah, this bottom no wick is definitely interesting, right? So we're breaking that high. I'm gonna go ahead and move my stop, break even here. And now this is just risk free, right? We're just chilling now. Yeah, I would really, really like for ES to trade up into here, right? And invert this fair value gap. But ES is definitely weak, man. ES is definitely weak. Yeah, it looks like we might be reaching for this one standard deviation. This isn't really confluence with anything, right? Like we have maybe like buy side liquidity up here, but I'll probably end up taking profit a little bit sooner. Yeah, I was thinking we're going for Friday high, but I'm not trying to I'm not trying to target I'm not trying to get that like I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm not targeting that full move, right? I just want a little piece of the pie. Yeah, I think we will reach for that though. We'll see. Looks pretty solid though. We're trading up into buy side liquidity here. I want to see a little bit more distribution. I was very close to closing this trade. Very close to closing this trade down here, especially when I saw no wick on the hourly candle, 4 hour candle. You know, and honestly, it still might be a good idea, but it's okay. We're break even. We're chilling. Yeah, the equal lows, this was a little sus, right? Um, the equal lows and the London low sitting below. I would say the trade idea was probably a B setup. Probably a B setup. Just because ES didn't have like a strong move through this low, right? If it's a little bit stronger and this was still like equal lows, I would say, you know, that would have been a little bit better of a setup. But yeah, and then the 10 a.m. candle opening with no wick. It's interesting. Yeah, we could be getting SMT here, right? We could get SMT to go lower on ES, but honestly need a little bit more, right? A little bit more of a move. See if we trade through it a little bit more. Yeah, you can't beat yourself up, man. You can't beat yourself up. You know, there's gonna be more moves, more opportunity. Um, but you followed your rules and you said, hey, I don't like the way this is looking, and you decided to just mitigate risk, right? If you felt like your stop loss was gonna get hit, you know, and you closed, like you can't beat yourself up about that. You know what I mean? It's perfectly okay to do that. We are very, very close. Very close here. And you could see how hard we're kind of distributing, right? Because we had this accumulation and then a nice little manipulation liquidity grab. So, all right. We should trade up into here now. We are at one standard deviation, just a little higher. Yeah, the displacement above the high was good for sure. Now I don't want to see I don't want to see price react off this one standard deviation and completely reverse to my break even. That would not be fun. Yeah, we'll at least move profits up here, right? So the main Sling, you're saying the main problem you've been having is not holding trades? Yeah, I mean, I get that. I get that. Um, that's that's kind of the thing is that's kind of the case with me as well, right? How many times have we taken winning trades live on stream, and then it continues to trade in our direction for the rest of the day? The thing is, you just have to have a target in mind, right? You can't beat yourself up, right? So for me, I target just low hanging fruit, right? I'm not targeting this daily high, but it could get hit. It could get hit, and I could be like, "Ah, man, I should have held. I would have made, $800 on my
Order
account,
filled.
all that." But the thing is, um, if you always think like that, you know what I mean? You're always going to beat yourself up. Now, like, that is things that you could, improve on. Like, hey, I could have held to my low hanging fruit. Okay. Yeah, you don't beat yourself up. Okay, good. I thought like you were saying, that's something you're super like struggling with, and that like, it affects your trading. So pretty good trade there. Pretty good trade. Um, little skeptical, little skeptical in this zone, but ended up playing out nicely. So go ahead and take a screenshot there for the journal. Now we could see a lower wick on this 10 a.m. 4 hour candle still, right? I mean, just kind of weird, right? Like if you look at this, like I mean, how often does a candle not have a lower wick? You know what I mean? Hey Frank, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I think that put me in payout range. Actually, look at this. Look at this right now. This is actually kind of funny. Um, so these are my accounts. I have accounts $3 from the payout. $3, $5, $2, $1.11 away. This one's $29. This one's $10. Oh man, that's kind of funny. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna force any other trade today, but I think what's gonna happen is I'll work to maybe get a buffer. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure yet. I'm just trading, right? I'm just coming back consistently every day. I do want to secure a payout because I have been trading. I've been trading accounts like over 50 days now or something.